we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Up next, I'm going to do something y'all probably aren't ready for. Y'all probably are not expecting. I'm going to defend, sort of, Jasmine Crockett, the far left, incredibly bombastic and outspoken, shall we say, Democratic member of Congress who has become something of a media darling and is even being talked about as a presidential contender. God help us. Anyway, I've trashed her a lot on the show lately because she says crazy stuff, like when she ranted about mediocre white boys and all that. And I think she's everything that's wrong with modern progressive politics. However, there was a news cycle about her yesterday on the conservative media ecosystem and right-wing Twitter that actually kind of did her dirty in a way that I honestly thought was unfair. Let me roll you a clip of Jasmine Crockett that was going viral in conservative circles.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Now, when I first saw this clip, I was kind of outraged like everybody else. I was like, did this woman really just suggest with her whole chest proudly, what is $5,000 even going to do for you as an American? I was like, how out of touch are you? Oh my gosh, that's an insane thing to say. Americans, $5,000 would be a life-changing amount of money. Not life-changing, but like would totally turn someone's budget upside down potentially that's struggling to get by in America. So many families could use that to get Christmas presents and catch up on their bills. And it made her seem incredibly out of touch, right? And so she was condemned for this by all sorts of figures from all over right-wing Twitter and media. Donald Trump Jr. shared the clip and made fun of her and criticized her for it. So did Benny Johnson, the right-wing YouTuber and influencer, and the mega popular Libs of TikTok account did the same thing, labeling Jasmine Crockett a typical out-of-touch, hypocritical Democrat. That tweet from Libs of TikTok has over 2 million views. There's just one problem. This clip is actually extremely deceptively edited. The media outlet, the conservative media outlet that put it together, Town Hall, sliced it at a moment that kind of stripped Jasmine Crockett's comments of their full meaning. Take a listen to the part that they didn't show you.
So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you if you are unable to find a job, because I am telling people we are headed towards a recession because the United States government is the 15th largest employer in the world. And so firing those that work for the federal government isn't going to necessarily create new jobs in private industry.
So what she actually said was that $5,000 isn't going to do anything for you if you lose your job because there's a recession. So you see how the conservative media people that were sharing that clip deceptively cut it to remove the context of her statement. What she said was not, oh, $5,000 won't do anything for an American. This $5,000 talk comes in the context of Doge wanting to give people rebates, basically, from the spending they cut, which I love the idea, but I'm kind of skeptical so far that they'll be able to actually identify that much waste to fund such big rebates. But anyway, they made it sound like Jasmine Crockett was so out of touch and dismissed altogether anybody like $5,000. What's that really going to do for an American? Which of course would be an incredibly out of touch thing to say. What she actually said, and you can hear in the clip, is it won't do much for you if you lose your job because there's a recession. That, it might be a point you disagree with or don't find compelling, but it's not the same thing. And these conservative media people deceptively cut that clip at the exact moment to completely change the meaning of what she said and make her look way worse than she actually should have based on the clip. I take real issue with that because it's a basic matter of integrity and fairness and accuracy as a media personality. And also, this is the same thing that left-wing media does and has done to Republicans for years. And these types were outraged over it, talked about how wrong and unfair it is. And yeah, you could say turnabout is fair play, but to me, integrity and honesty matter. And you should hold yourself to standards even if the other side doesn't. But here they are, like basically doing the Media Matters gig and clipping people dishonestly out of context and twisting their words to bash them to millions of people on the internet. And the whole thing was so dumb to me because, like, this woman is actually incredibly delulu. Like, she gives you so much real content to work with. If you want to criticize her, if you want to do a hit piece on her or make any content against her, there's so much real stuff to work with. Why did y'all have to deceptively edit things and create fake controversy? You're just discrediting yourselves in the criticism of this very radical, very extreme, and in my view, very toxic woman who is becoming a leader in the Democratic Party. It's dishonest and self-defeating in many ways, and I was really disappointed to see people doing this. Although honestly, not particularly surprised. What do you think? Did you see this clip and only see the edited version? Let me know in the comments.